All right. Well, it looks like we're ready to get this started. Good afternoon and welcome to the opening of the ALA 2021 Virtual Symposium. I'm Ray Angelo, President and CEO of Westinghouse Lighting. Although we were all looking forward to being together in person, ALA is pleased to offer the 4 days of virtual sessions for free to all ALA members. A special thanks to all of the sponsors who have provided the funding and to the ALA team for putting this Plan B into motion. Westinghouse Lighting has been a long-term sponsor, and we are especially happy to do so once again during our 75th anniversary. We began as Angelo Brothers back in the day and then transitioned to Westinghouse. So let's get the ball rolling. I'm pleased to introduce Corey Perlman, the first speaker of our symposium. Corey is a best-selling author and top-rated speaker. He helps businesses succeed through digital marketing and teaches well-tested and current social media strategies. As the owner of Impact Social Inc., Corey has been at the forefront of digital marketing for over 10 years. He started his career with the e-commerce division of General Motors before launching his consulting and speaking business in 2009. Since then, he has worked with such notable brands as Cisco Foods, the American Healthcare Association, Dale Carnegie Training, and the PGA Tour. Please welcome Corey Perlman.
Thank you, Ray. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thanks so much. All right, so we're gonna do our quick handoff here. I'm gonna share my screen, make sure my sound is on, and then Ray, you're going to do the vital last part of letting me know, A, you can see my screen, and B, you can still hear me clearly. Is that correct? Or are you gone?
Yes, we can.
Hang on.
Okay.
Yeah, muted me when both A and B are checked. I can hear you well.
Awesome.
The presentation looks fine. And
Great.
Take it away. Thanks, Corey. Nice talking with you earlier.
You too. Thanks, Ray. Appreciate it, man. And congrats on 75 years. Well, thanks everybody for being here. It means a lot, I know, to myself as well as everyone who put this together from the American Lighting Association. I know there have been, ups and downs and challenges, and I was really looking forward to seeing you all in person. But I'm very impressed with how this was put together and feel very, very good about the time that we're going to have together and the strategies that you're going to get at the end of this. So as I mentioned to Ray earlier, I was given your profiles. I asked specifically to be able to see a lot of your profiles, your websites, your social media, your directories, just so I could get a lay of the land and really make this as customized as I possibly can for you. So you may see some of your profiles as we go through here. Don't be scared. It's all good stuff. So as I always say, if I'd love to stay in touch with you, my Instagram is Corey Perlman Speaks, as you see there. Please feel free to connect with me there. Or if LinkedIn is your platform of choice, you can connect with me there as well. I'm also on Facebook if you want to. It doesn't matter to me, but would love to stay connected with all of you. If you have questions, I'd love to hear them. Please put them in, submit them via the streaming tool there that you have. If you can't, for whatever reason, we'll make sure we get them at the end, but try to put them through there. And toward the end of the presentation, we will leave some time to make sure all of your questions get answered. If for whatever reason they don't, I'm going to give you my email address at the end. I want you to email me those questions, so I'll make sure I get every single one of them answered for you all. I promise not to love you and leave you, but to make sure that you get what you were looking for out of today. All right, so this is Digital Marketing Masterclass. We are going to go pretty quickly. This isn't just social media. It's going to be the whole everything digital. So I've got a lot to cover in a fairly short amount of time. So we will be going fast, but I promise to get you everything at the end so that you don't miss anything. Speaking of that, if you want a copy of my slides, there's a couple ways to do it. If you want to just get your phones out really quickly and text the word slides to the phone number 66866, you could do it that way. So you just text the word slides as if you're texting a message to the phone number 66866. That will just queue you up with me that when I'm done with this, I will be able to send you a copy of the slides. If that doesn't work for you, you don't want to do that, I'll give you my email address at the end. Just shoot me a quick email and just say slides in the subject line, and I'll send you a link that's going to get you all the slides that you'll see today. And I just do that so that you don't feel like you have to copy everything down. I don't mind if you do. I just don't want you to feel like you have to. So you will get a copy of the presentation one way or another so that you can sit back, relax, and just soak it all in. As I mentioned, I'd love to hear your feedback on social or even through email or whatever the case may be. If you happen to have anything negative, maybe I didn't cover something, I went too fast, too many uhs, too many ahs, I'd love to hear that as well. I've got a specific tool I like to hear negative feedback on. It's called MySpace. Not sure if you guys have heard of it. Those of you 40 and above, you know this guy. This is Tom. This was your first ever social media connection. So those of you 40 and under, you have no idea who this is, that's fine. This guy, they literally made us connect with him on MySpace. He, I guess, was like the founder or whatever. So we always had Tom with this picture as our first ever social media connection. So there you go. For some of you, I made you feel old. For some of you, you have no idea what I'm talking about, and that's totally fine. I just love to throw a cheesy MySpace reference into my presentations. All right, let's get serious. So I often start my presentations with just a little bit of the why. Why is it important for lighting businesses, and everybody around it to have a social media digital presence? And a couple things came to mind for me as I was thinking about this specific to today. One is supporting local and small businesses. I noticed when I was looking through your profiles, a lot of you are small businesses. And I will say that COVID has brought to light the importance of working with our local small businesses more than ever before. The challenge with getting products, the pipeline issues and all that stuff, again, emphasizing the importance of working with small business. So I think now more than ever before, people really want to work with local small businesses as we come into the holidays, all that kind of thing. The question is, how do you let people know that you are part of the community and that you are a local small business? Social media is a big part of that, telling that story. So I think that's one area now more than ever that's super important. Staying top of mind. I often talk to industries like yours where when a lot of times we're in research mode, when we're shopping for lighting or redesigning our home, or if it's a interior designer and they're just trying to, get suppliers lined up or whatever the case may be, they may not be ready to check the box or pull the trigger or sign the check. So they may just be kicking tires. And what we want to do as businesses is when they're kicking our tires, we want to stay with them from research mode all the way to buy mode. And that's hard to do. Social media is a way to do that if we can stay connected with them and stay on their radar. Because at the end of the day, left on our own accord, we will forget about you. That's just the nature of business, right? Is that we're not always going to be thinking about you. You're thinking about you, but we as prospects are not. So the goal is to get them to attach to our social media and then try to stay top of mind with them until they go from research mode to buy mode. Be referable. I'm going to talk a lot about this, but the number one, if I ask you all 20 years ago how you got business, you'd probably tell me it was through word of mouth, right? People talking to other people. Well, it's still true today. We get a lot of our business through word of mouth, but the power of social is we can get word of mouth exponentially. Instead of one-to-one, neighbor to neighbor, it's Facebook posts to hundreds, if not thousands of people. It's Google review to hopefully hundreds, if not thousands of people. So it's getting referred at an exponential rate, but you have to be there to be referable. If you make it difficult for me to find you, I'll lose interest or motivation of doing it. So it's another reason to be very visible on the web, is to make it easy for clients to refer you, to tell your story. I think it's important, as I mentioned before, that you tell your story of being part of the community. Ray mentioned 75 years. That means a lot to me from a credibility standpoint. That story needs to be told through social. One thing you're going to hear me say a lot today is I don't want to see just a brochure. A lot of you on your social, it's just a brochure. It's just images of your products. It's got to be more than that. You got to tell your digital story. And the beautiful images are only a part of that story. And last but not least, something that came up in some of my pre-calls with some of your members is employee culture. I know we have an employee shortage going on right now, and a big way, 40 and below, call it the millennial generation, chooses whether or not to work for a company or not as they go to your social and they see what's going on. And so that's another area where you can put some of your culture on there, show people what's going on inside, behind the scenes. And that can do a lot for making you a very employee culture friendly company. All right, so those are some of the reasons I think it's important that you're here today, and that social and digital is very important. This is, I wanted to spend just a moment on this. This is kind of my secret sauce, if you will, but how I look at this whole thing when it comes to the sales cycle and digital. So let me take you through it real quickly. That top bar there is connect. So we have to figure out where our customers are and connect with them. That's step number one. Then number two is we want to strengthen the credibility. We want to earn the right to get their business. So what can we do online to move them in that direction as opposed to creating doubt? So that's one thing. And then staying top of mind, as you've heard me before. Even if they like us, they may not be ready to buy from us. So how do we stay on their radar until they're ready? That's the third phase. And then reminding them where to go when they are ready. So that might be your showroom. That might be a one-on-one meeting. But when we're sending emails out, when we're putting social graphics together or videos, reminding people what to do when they're ready to buy or when they're ready to take the next step. Don't make me as a consumer try to figure out how to work with you. So that's part of the overall process, is constantly just reminding them, hey, we're open at these times, or hey, if this struck a chord with you, we can set up a free meeting, or something like that, to remind people what to do. And then the next layer is, I talked about loving and leaving. A big part of earning referrals is making sure we're building rapport with our clients and creating that exceptional experience. So the next level beyond drive to sweet spot is after the sale has been made, making sure that we're following up, that maybe we're connecting on social, that we're creating that connection online so that they can get an exceptional customer experience, both online and offline, and then helping them, encouraging them to talk about their experience on the web. And that's how we get more people to connect with us. And that's how the circle connects, right? Once we get our champion clients to refer us because they've had a great experience, we will start seeing those connections come from that. So that's the overall social sales cycle. I will make sure you have this. I would just want to make sure you'll hear me talk about this throughout the presentation, that you're hitting each of these and not forgetting about them, because oftentimes what happens with businesses is we forget to do one and then the whole thing falls apart. All right, so what I've got for you today is 9 ways to light up your digital marketing. So number one, you're going to like this one because I know you're going to feel like there's a lot to do, and you probably already do. But the first one is really for those of you who feel overwhelmed. Don't be a jack of all social media sites, master of none. So my advice to you is to not be everywhere, to not feel like you have to be on all platforms. And the reason this has become so apparent to me was I was in a session similar to this. As you can see, I was live on stage, and I was talking about social media in general. And somebody in the audience asked a question about TikTok, which of course is a very hot social site these days. And as I was trying to answer that question, a gentleman on the other side of the room made a sound of frustration like I'd never heard before. It was like as close to a heckler as I've ever had. So I didn't have it recorded, so I had to kind of recreate the moment. So this is what the gentleman sounded like when he interrupted my presentation when I was talking about TikTok. As you guys could imagine, myself and the entire audience was completely startled by this gentleman just like blurting out loud. I was like, "Are you okay?" And he's like, he apologized. "I'm so really sorry, Corey. I'm just frustrated, And like he banged his cup down, and I was like, "Well, all right, well, since you interrupted the whole presentation, like what? Talk to me, man. What's going on?" He's like, "I just am frustrated that I feel like I have my hands around Facebook and LinkedIn. And I tweet a couple times a week, and what happened to Snapchat? Thought that was a platform. What happened to Google social network, Google Plus? Should I be on Periscope? Then there's Pinterest." And then you could just tell the sweat's pouring down the guy. He's just overwhelmed. And I said, okay. settle down. Just tell me tell me a little bit about your business. And he said, well, I sell medical supplies to the elderly population. And I was like, I just froze. I was like, oh. And then the whole crowd turned to him and was like, you don't need, and they're like yelling at the guy, you don't need to be on TikTok. What is wrong with you? And he's like, should I not even worry about TikTok? And they all turn around. They're like, no. So it was a reminder to me that we all sometimes wonder and maybe don't know the sites that we even need to pay attention to. So after I told him that there were really only probably one, if not two sites that he even needed to worry about, which was probably Facebook in his case, he felt much better and he sounded more like a purring kitten, very happy, smile on his face, didn't interrupt for the rest of the day. Quite nice. So that made me think about you and whether or not you had concerns or questions on where you should be focusing your attention. Should you be on TikTok? Should you be on Pinterest or Twitter or Facebook or Instagram and all these others? So my question back to you, and I'll help you answer this, is we have to figure out who your customer is or who your client is. How old are they? Are they, generally speaking, younger? Are they 25, 20, 30? Or are they a little bit older, 35, 40, 45, 50 plus? What's their job description? Are they interior designers? Are they homeowners? Are they builders? Who are you focused on? Where are you getting maybe the last 5 clients that you had? What's their kind of average makeup? Who are these people and where, most importantly, are they hanging out on social? And then you choose where to meet them there. So instead of us choosing where we want to be, I want you to ask your clients or figure out who your audience is and meet them there. So my advice to you, based upon what I know about you, is the Snapchat and TikTok generation is still very young, predominantly 16 to 25 as of today. So if you were to ask me my opinion today, I'd say neither. You don't have to be on either one. Partly because when you are focusing on some of these sites that may have a small portion of your audience, it takes focus away from the areas that have the larger portion of your audience. So if your audience is more, say, 35 and above, then Instagram is going to be a great platform for you all. And I know a lot of you are out there. Facebook is the only social site that still can use the B word, billions. And I know they're in the news a lot and they got a lot going on. They're changing their name and all this stuff. But today, they're still the behemoth or one of the behemoth in the industry. And if people become anti-Facebook users and want to go jump on, say, Instagram, well, Facebook owns Instagram, as you all know. So they're sister and brother. So they complement each other. So the short answer, or maybe the long answer at this point, is I think you should be laser focused on Facebook and Instagram as your 2 primary platforms at this moment. I'd keep an eye out for TikTok and watch as the demographic potentially moves to older. But right now, I think over the next year, probably 3 years, Facebook and Instagram, you're going to be happy that you put resources behind those 2 platforms. I may have said to you 3 years ago, Snapchat was TikTok. You all know this. And now look at today. No one really talks about Snapchat. So there will be sites that will come and go, but I believe Instagram and Facebook are here to stay. Now, I do know in your industry, Pinterest and Houzz, I don't typically talk about those sites, but I do think they have a place in your industry, specifically Pinterest, especially if homeowners, interior designers, that type of thing are your jam. During the time that we're in research mode, people like my wife become very, very connected / addicted to Pinterest. So when she's doing a home remodel or we're looking to buy a house, whatever the case may be, Pinterest becomes our best friend. It's not always that way, but when we're in that mode, it becomes that way. So it's probably a place to pay attention to. Houzz, I'm a little iffy on, candidly. I know a lot of you are doing that. I think, again, for probably some of the industry people like interior designers, it's very, very good. I still think like people like my wife, just using a general person, she would more likely go to Pinterest before she'd go to Houzz. So you have to play around with that a little bit and figure out what's right for you all. But I did want to mention that. So if I were prioritizing Instagram, Facebook 1 and 2, Pinterest, Houzz 3 and 4. Okay, so that's number one. Number two is be as proud of your profiles as you are your products. So the nitty gritty on this one is when I walk into your showroom, I'm dazzled by the stuff that I see. And I know that. I know that if you're a part of the American Lighting Association, you've been doing this for a long time. I know your products are top notch. So I know I'll be impressed when I open the physical doors as to wherever I'm going. What I want to have happen is have the same experience happen online. So this would be your website. This would be your social platforms. This would be any place that you hang your hat online. I want to get that warm and fuzzy feeling just like I would if I walked into the showroom. Simple as that. Okay. So a little more detail, as I talked about, Facebook, Instagram, some of those online directories, which are important when we're kicking your tires. They come up high on Google. These are like Google My Business, Yelp, and Houzz, and then website and Pinterest. So let's talk about your website for a second. I'm not going to spend a ton of time here, but I'm often asked, especially in industries like yours, is the website important? The answer is yes. It's the only piece of real estate online that you own. Everything else is rented land. What I mean by that is you don't own your Facebook page. You don't own your Google page. You don't own your LinkedIn page. They own it. They can change the rules at any moment. You own your website. This is your land. So take care of it, update it, invest in it. This is a place that we go to check you out and kick your tires. So, it's important to have a great site. Now, as I mentioned before, the ALA gave me all of your profiles to look at. So I am now about to show you the website from your group that I would recommend to be on websitesthatsuck.com. I'm just joking. I would never do that to you. I just scared the team. They were trying to get me off, kick me off, but they were unable to. That's good. I was just kidding. I would never do that. I'd have a very short speaking career. I'm not going to pick fun at any of your sites. If any site needs to be picked on, it's mine. So don't you worry about that. But if you do see your sites, because it's something I liked. So I just want to make that note. We all have some room for improvement, but I would not pick fun of any of you, I promise. So here's some common website best practices to look at when you are checking out your own website after our presentation today. If it's dated, if you haven't redesigned your site in a couple of years, it's dated. Every 2 or 3 years, it needs a fresh coat of paint. And it's really easy to do nowadays. A designer without a lot of money can use a modern WordPress theme and make sure that it's mobile responsive and it's really easy to look at via the phone. It's using the most up-to-date visual applications for photos, that kind of thing. Whereas a 5-year-old site can't do that. So just make sure it's up to date. I look for your critical information to be at the top so that I don't have to scroll to find it. That's things like your phone number, hours of operation, services, whatever your common visitor is looking for, just make sure it's easy to find. So what I would have you do is write down the 2 or 3 things that a common visitor is looking for and go look for it on your website. Do you have to scroll to find it? Does it take a moment? Make it easy for them. And then what do you want the visitor to do on your site? I want to make sure that that's front and center. And I'll show you a couple examples of that right now. So here's one of yours, Texas Bright Ideas. The reason I chose this one is I mentioned that warm and fuzzy feeling, that you want me, and I mentioned this later, I'm stealing my thunder, to hate my house. You want me to be like, dang, that's nice. I really want that, right? You want to give me that emotion, invoke that emotion when I'm looking at that. And this picture does that for me. And a lot of your stuff does that, but just make sure you're using photography on all of your platforms to do that. That's part of the process of moving me along to a sale, that I want to have that. And sometimes the images don't do the products justice. What else did I like about this site? You'll hear me mention this a couple of times, but up at the very top there, you see Pinterest and Facebook as their profiles of choice. People ask me if you should have your social icons on your website. My answer is yes, as long as it's the platforms that you're managing, you're actively managing. Sometimes I see all of them. And oftentimes you're not managing all of them. So I like the fact that they just put the 2 that they're prioritizing and they left the rest off. I think that's a smart thing to do. Here's Cardello. I saw yours. And one of the things that I'm asked a lot about is content on your website. And yes, it's important. told you that one of my takeaways was to help you up the rankings on Google. And there's no better way of doing that still to this day than the written content on not only your website, but on any platform on the web. It's the words that you use. So when I read this at the bottom there, we are a local, independently owned lighting and electrical retailer illuminating the greater Pittsburgh area for over 70 years. I like that sentence. That not only tells me as a visitor who you are and what you do. This is the secret. It tells the search engines who you are, what you do, and where you are located. And that's key. So you want to make sure that A, the words are there, and B, I can't do it now because I'm not live, but you want to be able to highlight those words. You want to make sure they're not images, that you actually can highlight that content. So good job, guys. This is one that I liked from Furby Electric Supply Company because he had great CTAs, call to actions. I mentioned, what do you want me to do as the visitor? And you all can see very clearly what they want you to do with those red buttons, right? Call the phone number or shop the products. Very, very clear. They even have the little messaging thing at the bottom there. So I do not have to hunt if I'm ready to take the next step with these guys. And I like that. And I suggest that for you as well. Also the visual here, I like that. It's so clear where you're located. Time is money these days. So don't make me hunt and figure out if you're in my area or not. So it's another good thing. And then another thing that you want me to do, probably the number one thing you want me to do, is to give you my information. You don't want people to leave without giving you their email address. And so this was one of the examples of a pop-up box that showed up. And I know that there's a lot of controversy over pop-up boxes because they're annoying, they're frustrating, but they're highly effective. So I'm going to give you a little ninja tip here that I think is the best of both worlds with these things. The reason they're so frustrating is because they come up at the wrong time. They come up at the beginning or in the middle of the user's journey. Instead, you should use something called an exit pop-up. So write that down, exit pop-up. Those things show up at the very end. As they're about to leave, the box shows up. So they were leaving anyway. I don't really care that the box shows up at that point. And it says, hey, before you go, and then you try to get their email address. And I would give away something as valuable as you can, whether it be a discount, whether it be something that they need to know, whether it be like this, the hottest and best updates, whatever, but try to get their information before they leave so that you can stay top of mind moving forward. Okay, so I'm big into action. I want to make sure that you don't just listen to this stuff, but you get it done. So here are the things I want you to do. I want you to do a thumb test with your phone. So when you're done here, I want you to go to your website on your phone, and I want you to play around on it just using your thumb, navigating, or maybe your two thumbs, and make sure that it's easy to use, all the pages. And if it's not, work with your web team to get it fixed. But more than 50% of people navigate websites or social on their phone. So we got to make it a seamless experience for them. COVID, unfortunately, is still around. And so any COVID related info, don't make me come to your showroom, with a mask on if I didn't know up front that I need to have a mask on, or if you've changed your hours of operation, try to make that as clear as you can so that you don't frustrate people when they get there. What's the number one action you want me to do? And is it easy to do? So if it's call you or give you my email address, just make sure it's simple. Is it crystal clear who you are, what you do, and where you're located? Who you are, what you do, and where you're located. That's in that content, and that needs to be crystal clear. And how are you collecting my information so you can stay top of mind? Okay. Again, you're going to get this slide. Just use it when you're on website day and make sure you can do all those things. Okay, still on the number 2 of making your profiles be as exciting as your products. I mentioned this earlier, but make me hate my home. As I kind of just check out your social, what I'm looking for is beautiful imagery as the first part. So I want you to do the same. I want you to go out to your social channels and just ask yourself a simple question. Does my imagery justify or impress as my products do? And if not, then you need to change that. And that is your timeline cover, as you see on the left. Those are your photos, as you see on Instagram. Those are your videos, all that stuff. But it does matter. Photography in your industry is absolutely critical. You can see here me scrolling through. Okay. So again, after we're done here, another little action item I'd like you to do is just do a quick social media audit or have somebody do that for you. And just go make sure that there's no holes in your game. No profiles being unmanaged. Do you have brand consistency across your social platforms? That's something. I own an agency. That's what we do for our clients. We want to make sure that if I go to your Pinterest or I go to your Facebook or your LinkedIn or wherever, I get a similar experience from a brand, a logo, imagery, that kind of thing. But don't chintz on one and go crazy on the other. I prefer it not to exist than for you to let it collect dust online. So look for those holes in your game. Look for, no images. A reason I put Westinghouse lighting, which Ray, I think this is you guys, if I remember you correctly, is not anything wrong here, is that I found you on LinkedIn. Some of you are not on LinkedIn, maybe even don't know you're on LinkedIn. These guys, on the other hand, are rocking and rolling with their LinkedIn company page. So I'm fine if you have a LinkedIn company page, because I think in a lot of ways it's a good thing. But just make sure you go check and see if you have one. What I don't want to have happen is you go check it out a year later and you see that you had one that's been collecting dust. That's what we want to avoid. Okay, number 3 is to be proactive in getting positive reviews. So this is a big one if you're a local business, a brick and mortar. If not, if you're, distributor or more B2B, then you can just kind of relax for a second and I'll be back with you in just a second. But for you, brick and mortars, local businesses, this is really important because we all know that reviews are a big part of the customer experience. And with online reviews, people are apt to run to the computer when they're unhappy. So we have to work on that. So I'm talking about things like Yelp, Amber's Lighting and Home Accessories, pages like this. I do want to mention that the most important directories like Yelp and Google My Business and maybe Houzz, you have opportunities to put photos up, edit content. Please do that. This is another place that we check you out. It doesn't take a ton of time. Amber can attest to have really nice, beautiful photos on there to give people a good experience. And it's claimed, as you can see there. So again, I put Cardello up here because I noticed up at the top, they had the featured on Houzz button up there. And then, so here's what I want to tell you all. If you are showcasing Houzz as an example, like they are at that big tab, you want to make sure that you are monitoring it. So you can see when I clicked on their link, I go over there, and then you want to make sure that you're rocking on it. Now, this is what I'll say to you guys, Cardello. This is not a knock. This is for everybody. But because you're making it such a big part of your site and you got good reviews here, and I know, look, we all occasionally get negative reviews. And by the way, you guys did a great job of responding to what seemed to be completely irrational negative reviews, which mostly they are. But the point is that I would suggest, again, being proactive to get more reviews here, positive reviews. So when you've got happy clients and Houzz is a place that people are going, direct them here. A lot of you have a ton of Google My Business reviews, but very few Houzz reviews. So if you're good on Google My Business and you got 50 plus over there, move over here and get this one up. Okay. So instead of, I think you have 11, let's go to 22 by the end of the year and beef this one up a bit. Because as I mentioned, we don't have to motivate people when they're unhappy. They'll run to the computer screen and write their negative review. And that's just part of the culture that we live in now. So that's the problem. And I do want to let you know, take a little content break and give you just a little bit of fun here. These are some of the most creative, crazy reviews that I've ever seen online. This one is about the Ford's Theater. And this was Abe L, gave it a 2 out of 5 stars rating because he says he was murdered here. Would not recommend. So for you history buffs, I just thought, gosh, that was a really super creative and funny one for Ford's Theater. And then on the category of they can never be satisfied, this is a resort somewhere, I think in maybe Florida, that says the beach is too sandy. Clean water, but there was just too much sand on the beach. So I've never heard that one before, but they got dinged 2 stars for that. So you just really can't satisfy everyone. And then I'm an author of a couple of books, so don't get me started on Amazon book reviews, but this one just cracked me up. They got a 1-star review for Where's Baby's Belly Button because it says, do not buy this book. As you can see, the ending is right on the cover. So why would you need to buy the book? 1-star review. So if you can't, laugh about it or cry about it, then just laugh. It's just crazy. These people, they got too much time on their hands, but hopefully I gave you a chuckle. A question I'm often asked around reviews is, if you see a negative review, how should you respond? I'll give you a couple of best practices there. As I think most of you know at this day and age, be diplomatic. Try not to be combative with them because they're looking for a fight. And even if you're right, it's not going to come off well online. So what I'd like you to do is, regardless of right or wrong, just be diplomatic and as kind as and empathetic as you possibly can. And the one I just showed before, you guys did a great job of that. Really sorry you had this experience. Nobody likes to blah, 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 blah. Be empathetic. Try not to be defensive. Try to solve the issue. You can turn a critic into a champion. I have seen plenty of Yelp and Amazon reviews where it started off as a 3-star. You were able to resolve the issue, and they come back and they respond or edit the review. And that's great. So really do try to solve the issue. If you can't, take it offline. So after 1 or 2 exchanges of trying to support or help and it's not working, stop right there and just say, hey, we'd love to give you a call. Or if you could provide us your email address, or here's our email address. I'd love to chat with you and see if we can fix the problem, and then get it off of there. So there's just a couple of things to do if you were to get a negative review. But the most important part of this section is to have a process for positive reviews, because we can't stop negative reviews from happening. It's going to happen at some point in your business lives. So what I do see is people don't write positive reviews when they had a positive experience. So we have to encourage them. So some best practices around there is to have a process. Tell your team to listen for clues of positivity. Thank you so much. This was a great experience. I'm so glad we came here. Maybe you see a picture online, something like that they had a great experience. Then what? Instruct them on what to do and where to go. Hey, Mark, thank you so much for the feedback. If you have a moment, visit our Facebook page and write us a quick review. It would mean the world to us. And give them the link. Okay, maybe it got texted to you, maybe it's on the phone. Incentivize, a lot of businesses do that. Hey, we just wanted to send a $5 Starbucks card because we're about to ask a favor. And regardless if you do it or not, we wanted to say thank you for your business. But if you liked your experience with us, it would mean the world to us for a social media shout out, something like that. And then if they do it, show appreciation. Thank them, comment on their post, and tell them how much you appreciated them following through. But the key detail is you got to hold their hand all the way through, because I can't tell you how many times somebody said to me, hey, I'm going to write you that review, and you've heard it. I'm going to write that review, and they don't do it. You got to hold their hand. Hey man, just checking on that review. Do you mind doing it? I know it's a pain. I really appreciate it. It's worth it. Okay. Never let a verbal testimonial go unpublished. Never let a verbal testimonial go unpublished. I hope you guys are enjoying this. Hope you're getting this. Hard on the webinars to know if, I'm not seeing the light bulbs go off, but I hope that you're getting some of this, and we still got more to go. So hope it's going well for you. Okay, about 35 minutes. All right, so do a directory audit. What I mean by that is, again, when you're done here, Google yourself and check out the different directories that you are listed on, and find the ones that don't have 82 awesome reviews like Hunziker Lighting Gallery. Look for the ones that maybe have a little bit less, or, in the single digits. Those are the ones I want you to work on. Okay. Make sure you've claimed them. Make sure they have current, accurate, if any COVID information, make sure those are on there. And make sure that you are asking for reviews on the directories that need them most. And this is about claiming them. Okay, number 4, and we'll go faster through these. I'll make sure again that we have time for questions. Be less like the squawking parrot and more like the wise owl. So what I mean by that is, this is about social media, and this is about telling our story online and trying not to be over promoting, frustrating, annoying, and trying to be helpful and educational and like the wise owl. So what do I mean by the squawking parrot? Don't over promote. This is social media, right? So the first word, social. So by being a business that just promotes is simply going to frustrate and annoy people and not get us anywhere. It's going to do the opposite of what we're looking for. So don't over promote. Don't cluster posts. So oftentimes businesses will accidentally post 3 or 4 things at one time. People always ask me about frequency of posting. I'm totally fine as your business for you to post every day, because the chance of anyone seeing a particular post is pretty low. But the problem is when you post all at the same time, like 4 or 5 times, then it clogs up a news feed and can annoy somebody to the point of an unfollow. So don't do that. But the biggest one that you can do is phone it in, which I talked about before. A lot of your profiles, not picking on anybody particular, is just literally a brochure of your products. And I can tell by the engagement, nothing's happening there. You just can't just post pictures of your products. It's not enough. We've got to also tell our story. I'm going to talk more about that in just a minute. And then I have to say, don't alienate anyone. So be careful of, oftentimes if it's an international company, I recommend, not just saying Thanksgiving to Americans, because Canadians sell it in a different way. Or if you're going to do Christmas, maybe throw out a Hanukkah or a Kwanzaa post, just trying to be as, bringing in everybody. Don't talk about politics, all that fun stuff, but just word of warning to be a little careful about alienating too much with that kind of stuff. So what I do want you to post about is educate. And some of you are doing a great job on this. So the goal is, if I'm in research mode, if I am trying to figure out the lighting that I want in my home, my business, or as part of my repertoire to show to builders and such, what do you know that I need to know? That's the kind of thing I want you to post on social, maybe once a week, but try to be helpful, try to be useful while I'm researching. That builds trust and credibility more than anything else. In my world, in social, instead of selling to you, selling, I want to be helpful to you. What are ways to get you more likes? How can you use hashtags better? Are blogs still a thing? Just being a resource for you is the way that I want to stay top of mind with you, and how you want to stay top of mind with your audience. I think you have an opportunity to have some fun, which you'll see in just a minute, and give the gift of laughter. This is social. Unfortunately, people think of social as a very dark, negative place these days. So maybe you can have some fun, be a little creative, put a smile on our face. And I'll show you a little bit more about that in just a minute. And then I recognize that you're not a nonprofit. So how do you push people to the next level, to get people to act? Well, one thing is, people hate to be sold, but love to buy. So how can we indirectly sell our value? One example of that is testimonials. So I've seen a lot of you do this, but it might be an in-home testimonial with one of your clients, and you're showing off this amazing lighting feature, or, new lit home, outside, inside, whatever the case may be. And what I'm doing is going, man, I want that. That's all. How do I get that? So you're not putting it front and center in my face, but you're still showing me how much I want that, right? So it's just one example of ways to inadvertently or indirectly sell your value. One best practice around creating content online. Again, I own an agency, been doing this for over a decade. And what we do with every one of our clients is we have them create a content calendar with us. The reason we do that is I want everyone on the same page on what type of content's being put out on their social. So there's no miscommunication, right? So we know that every Monday is going to be something motivating towards getting people excited about lighting. That might be an inspirational quote. That might be a beautiful image. That might be, you figure out what that might be. Tuesday's Testimonial Tuesday. So we all know as a team that Tuesday, we're going to showcase someone who loves our products. And so if you have a salesperson and they know that every Tuesday is Testimonial Tuesday, and they hear a great testimonial, or they get a great testimonial, they give it to Mark, your social media person, for Testimonial Tuesday. So everybody's working on the same team. So your social media person's not on an island. WTF is not what you think it means. It's what to film Wednesday. So a reminder that video, which we're going to talk about in just a second, is so important. Thank you Thursday is thanking maybe a supplier, or a company that you work with, or maybe a small business. and maybe Friday's local Friday or feel good Friday. So it's something lighthearted or local, but, and don't worry too much about the categories that I created, but just know that knowing where you're going before you go with your social makes everyone's job easier. Make sure that you get it done consistently, and it's not just pictures of your products. A best practice around social posting is don't forget to go left to right. So a lot of us 40 and above are used to navigating social up and down. But 40 and below, a lot of them like to go left to right. So those are like carousel posts or Instagram stories. This is a carousel post. I'll show you an example of this of one of you guys, where instead of having one image, you can see that I can scroll through right to left or left to right, multiple images. So, you know, just a way to get more out of your content. And then stories, which I think you'll see here, is you see a lot of these on Facebook, you see them on LinkedIn, but these are, excuse me, a series of pictures and videos that create an experience. So it's very different than a native post that somebody might post on a particular feed, but this is more creating experiences. Those little circles that you see at the top of your phone or of your computer. But the bottom line is, I told you, you get to pick and choose your profiles that you use, Facebook and Instagram. But inside those profiles, I want you to use all the features that they give you. So stories, carousel posts, reels, which is video. It's important to use. I'm not trying to overwhelm you, but just know that there is a portion of your audience that only looks at that stuff and doesn't necessarily go through the news feed. So it is important. Okay, I'm watching the time. Got a couple more here for you. We don't just do business with lighting companies. We do business with you. So this goes to my point about not being a brochure online. So what I'm looking for you to do on this is to humanize your brand, not all the time, but as part of your overall story. It's the number one issue I see with all of you is it's just too much product, and you're wondering why your engagement is low. But when I go through and I see pictures of humans and you out in the community, or you doing something or showing us a passion or an interest or something that tells the behind the scenes story, it doesn't have to be totally personal. It can still be about business, but it still brings you to light. Engagement skyrockets, as you can see here. They have 22 engagements here, where I think the one above had like 2 or 3. All right. So how can you make 20% of your posts more personal as opposed to just products? Here's one I want to show you here that I saw, which I really like. So I think this is a video. Yeah, watch this. So I'm going to kind of narrate through here. So 8 engagements on that post there. 6 there, you know, kind of more of the standard post there. Again, 9 engagements. Again, not bad, but I like this buy local thing. The cargo ship thing, it still had 8 engagements, but a little different, which I thought was neat. Again, another like more standard post. And then comes the more personal post, double engagement right there, bam, with comments. Another post, 21 likes, triple engagement from the ones you guys saw above. Another one, 13. So as soon as you start seeing more humans, like this one, 40 people being tagged, you know, using hashtags, that kind of thing. But you're going to notice that the more humanized the posts are, the more engagement goes up. It's just, I mean, trust the social media guy that that's the way to do it. I know you can't do it all the time, but I'm telling you right now that it will help a lot. Number 6 is TLDR, which if you've never known what that means, I'll tell you, it's too long, didn't read, which is a just reminder to us, don't tell us, show us. So this is, you know, look at all that content. Would you read that? No, of course you wouldn't. So find ways to create content that is video. Why is video so important? Algorithms favor video. So if you're looking for more engagement on Instagram and Facebook, video, all of the social platforms have basically said that they are a video first platform moving forward. Instagram has changed their mission statement from photography to video, you know, so that in itself should just tell you that they're all heading that direction. And on top of that, you know, there's no way to showcase your products better than being able to see them live, maybe imagery, but I think video is even more powerful. And I can see your passion and enthusiasm come through as well. Here's a great example that I saw. So I'm going to give you some video best practices right here that are worth their weight in gold. So pay attention. If you're going to start doing more video, spend time on the title. Spend as much time on the title as you do on the video itself, because no one's going to watch it if you didn't pique their interest with the video. So on that title, make it as appealing as possible to get me to watch it. All right. Same with the first 10 seconds. If I start watching it and I'm not engaged, I'm gone. So in the first 10 seconds, don't bury the lead. Tell me right off the bat what I'm about to hear. You're about to find out the secret to getting the best lighting possible in your blah, 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 whatever. Shoot horizontal so it gets the full screen. And half of us watch videos with the sound off. So I love a tool called rev.com, and they will burn captions into the video for you at a very economical price. So I think I use rev.com every day for every video I do. I just shoot them the YouTube link, and in about an hour, I get it back with the captions on the screen.
Be here to get answers to some questions that I have had for a really long time. And I don't think I'm the only person who walks down the light bulb aisle at a store and feels completely overwhelmed and intimidated. So you're going to help us make sense of all of that, right?
Yes, I know it can be super confusing to shop for a light bulb. And I try to simplify it by asking two very basic questions. Number one, is it going to fit? The second thing to think about is, will I love the light? And there's a couple things to think about in regards to loving the light. One is it the brightness that I want? And brightness is measured in lumens. And I know lumens is a new word that's very confusing for people. So lumens is a measurement of brightness. That's the easiest way to say. So think about your old-fashioned light bulb. I like a 40 watt. I like a 60 watt.
So I love it. I thought it was a great video. It's exactly what I'm talking about. Good sound, all that fun stuff. I'm giving you my 90-second video outline. So this is everything you need to create an awesome video. Okay. So use this when you get these slides, but title, intro, top 3 takeaways, and a close. That's all you need for a great video. All right. I got a couple more for you and then I'm gonna wrap up. This one, I'm just, I can't help myself, but I really think that it's important that we shine some humor in our marketing. And I always get the excuse that we are not a fun industry. It's like, Corey, we're lighting, man. Like, I'm sorry, we can't. But look, I could tell you insurance is not a fun industry. And I know you don't have Geico's budget or Progressive or whoever this is about to be, but I just want to give you an example of a really funny commercial that I've shown a million times purely because it invoked that humor in me. And you can't think of better advertising than if you can think of something funny. So just enjoy this.
If you printed out directions to get here today, you're in the right place. My seminars are a great tool to help young homeowners who are turning into their parents. Now remember, they're not programs, they're TV shows. You woke up early, no one cares. Yes?
So I was using something called Home Quote Explorer from Progressive to easily compare home insurance rates. Was I hashtagging?
Progressive can't help you from becoming your parents, but we can help you compare rates on home insurance with Home Quote Explorer.
Guess what? The waiter doesn't need to know your name. Do you know who wouldn't hit the subscribe button to see more videos on the internet? Your parents, because they have no idea what this button does, but you do.
I can't help myself. I just think that's hilarious. So maybe this week you can find a way. Maybe you have some lighting that, maybe you show like a before and after, and you're like, is this your parents' lighting or something like that? Something to thread that line between your parents versus, the new age or whatever. But I promise you'll get good engagement if you show some of those commercials. My last two for you: perfection is the enemy of progress. So I know I've given you a lot today. It's kind of the summarization port. The biggest challenge I get from people that we work with in terms of getting this done is they're perfectionists. They want that video to be perfect. They want that post to be perfect. And the honest to God truth, 5 minutes it's here, the next minute it's gone. It literally comes and goes as quick as that with a snap of my fingers. And you guys know that. So one post isn't going to make or break you. It's the consistency that's key. It's doing it over a period of time and staying consistent with it. So really work hard on not trying to make a perfect post, a perfect image, or a perfect video, but instead try to be as consistent as possible. I challenge you to do the one take challenge. This is a great example of that. So I love this tool called Clips that I use on my phone. It's an app called Clips. I can shoot video, as you'll see here, and it automatically puts subtitles. I'll just start the message here so you see what I'm talking about.
Hey everyone, it's Corey Perlman with just a quick, cool tip for you for shooting video. So I'm playing with a new tool for me called Clips. It's on your iPhone app, and it enables us to shoot video just like this, but also puts these transcriptions, subtitles, whatever you want to call them, right in automatically. This is actually happening. I'm actually reading what I'm saying to you as I say it. And it's pretty accurate, I must say.
Okay. So the reason I show you that is I had my hat on. Now I'm purposely trying to grow a beard, which isn't going very well. But in this case, I just hadn't shaven. And I didn't want to shoot the video. I almost deleted it. But instead I was like, you know what? I can take my own advice. So I'm just going to post it. Well, this is the best video in terms of engagement that I got that entire month. And it was one that I almost didn't do because I didn't like the way I looked or sounded. Just an example. So the one take challenge is resist the urge to redo. Resist the urge to redo and just post it. My last tip for you, and then I'm going to open it up for questions, is the holy grail of social, which is to turn your clients into your sales force. And this is what I was talking about at the very end. If you do everything that I talked about up to this point and you're getting business and you're giving good experiences, I'm going to make your jobs a heck of a lot easier if you can get your clients to talk about you on social. That's the key. Because again, instead of the word to mouth, the one-to-one, we want the one-to-many. So I told you I'm going to send this to you, but I want to burn this into your brain and all of your sales team brain and customer service and anybody who touches clients ever is remember these words. The best way to thank us is to tag us. The best way to thank us is if you remember nothing else from this presentation, when somebody's happy and they shake your hand, either virtually or physically or whatever, you take that hand and you bring it to the keyboard and you tell them where to go to share that experience, because that's the way to get the phone ringing. Okay. So make sure that people are sharing their story about you if they're happy online. Now, how do you do that? Create a process. So you as soon as you hear the happy words, you tell them where to go. For example, it might be on Instagram, ABC Lighting, might be Facebook.com/ABC Lighting, might be LinkedIn, whatever, wherever the place is. When it comes to hashtags, you should be using your own hashtag, your name as your own hashtag. So mine would be Impact Social Media. Yours, let's just say your name was ABC Lighting. That way, if a client's, you didn't even ask, let's say, they're at their home, they're super happy, they take a picture, they post it to Instagram. They remember seeing your hashtag, so they use your hashtag. Thank you, hashtag ABC Lighting, for the amazing work. You rock. Even if you're not connected with them, that anchors you or them to you, so that if you or I or anybody go and search your name, you will see that post. If they didn't use the hashtag, there is a chance that you wouldn't ever know that that person posted about you. So getting clients to use your name as a hashtag, I call it an anchor hashtag, very important. And then last but not least, I mentioned this earlier, thanks a latte. If I were in your shoes, maybe it's a final summary email after installation or after the last, thing has been done. And I want to let you know that inside this email is a $5 Starbucks card for a latte, because I'm going to ask for a favor. I know we had a great experience together. I know you seem very happy, and it means the world to us, and it's the way we grow our business, to have you share that experience wherever you may want to share it. Here are the following places to do that. And whether you do it or not, your next latte is on me. And that's just one thing maybe you could do to increase feedback. Find ways to turn your happy customers into your digital sales force. Create a process for getting happy clients posted social. Tell them where to go. Remind them what they said. So maybe in the email, you had told Steve, our installer, that this was the easiest process that you've ever experienced. Just wanted to remind you said that, and then follow up with them until it's done. All right. That's it. These are the 9 principles that I gave you to light up your digital marketing. Don't be a jack of all social media sites, master of none. So pick a few and plant your flag there, and try not to feel like you have to be everywhere. Be proud of your profiles. Make me as impressed with your social as I am with your products. Be proactive in protecting your online reputation by creating a process for positive reviews. Less squawking, more wise owl. So that just means try to add value, try to be of service, try not to over promote. The more human you are online, the more engagement you'll get. Shoot video. If you can find ways to add humor into your social content, you will see more people resonating with that and sharing it. Try not to be a perfectionist, and get those champion clients to become your sales force. As I promised, that's my email address, Corey@impactsocialmedia.com. Again, text the word slides to the number 66866. That's how to follow me on Instagram or connect with me. I really would love to hear from you and what you thought. I hope this was good for you. I hope that a couple of these hit home with you, and I'd love to see the progress you make as we go along. And I think we're right at that top of the hour, so we can open it up for some questions if that works for the ALA team. So let me out of here.
Hi, everybody. We're going to give some time for questions, so you can send those in on the platform, and then we will try to get to them as we get talking with Corey. First question, I want to start posting on Pinterest, but we have no followers there. How do you grow a new platform, and can people find you if you have no followers?
Yeah, excellent question to begin with, Nikki. You're going to have to maybe create some excitement around it. So a couple of ideas, and this is a good one. Good question. I would cross promote to start with. So I get the page ready and get some, and here's one thing, friends and family, like don't have zero, get neighbors, cousins, sisters, brothers, get up to 15, 20 followers just with that. But once you're ready to launch, you have some pictures and stuff in there, cross promote, Facebook, Instagram, and let's have some fun with it. Maybe we're going to give away 2 concert tickets or baseball tickets or something, but, and it's a Pinterest promotion. And so let's get some excitement around it to join the Pinterest page and maybe do it that way. You of course can spend some money if you want and try to, spend some advertising dollars with Pinterest, but I think organically, just having some fun with it and cross promoting the page, put the Pinterest link in your email signature, send it to your email database, let them know you're doing this contest. And on November 22nd, you're going to do a $100 gift card to Honey Baked Ham. There, I just did it for you. Bam. And you'll get lots more followers. What do you think of that, Nikki?
That's great. Next question, is there a time of day that's better for getting more engagement on on social platforms?
Yeah. That's why I love these questions, because everybody asks the things I forgot. Typically, it's the even times during the course of the day, 10 a.m., 12 p.m., 2 p.m. that our team likes to post. Now, I say typically because in your industry, you got to play with that a little bit. If you are going after home buyers, the weekend may be a really good time to post. So I may swap out maybe a Tuesday for a Saturday, or a Monday for a Sunday kind of thing, or I would just do every day of the week and mix it up. I can tell you that the middle of the night's not a good time to post, but other than that, you're going to see a different market at different times. So I like to fluctuate it and play with it and watch the results.
Okay. Next question, you had mentioned if you're having a client tag you, do you use hashtag or the @ symbol?
Use the @ symbol, 100%. The hashtag does not tag your business. It just categorizes their post to your business. So if in the perfect world, you use both.
Here's the next comment. I'm about to run a contest inviting customers to post a pic of their updated space. Should they post on their pages and tag us on our page? My goal is their friends to see their picture, so I was thinking their page is a better option. You
thought correctly. You answered your own question perfectly well. Definitely your page, because of the exact reason you talked about. And if they tag your page, then it's the best of both worlds.
Okay, next comment. Humor can be pretty subjective. People are so divided these days, and we don't want to offend anyone. Any tips on that?
Yes, I completely agree. And sometimes it definitely can not backfire, but just not hit, right? Yeah, be safe. Like, I feel like the one I showed you guys, I've showed that probably 100 times, and it may not you may not find it as funny, but I don't think it's offensive. Maybe it could be potentially to, certain population, but I haven't found that yet. So I just try to find, the Switzerland of comedy that, tries not to hit there. But yeah, you got to be really, really careful about it. And if you're not sure, don't post it. Bottom line, if you're even this much unsure, don't post it. It's not worth it.
Do you recommend paid advertising on social media, and is it effective?
Yes. In short, yes. If you are planning to use social media as a marketing tool for your business, you should have an advertising budget, period. Then the question is, how much? And typically with small businesses that we work with, up to a couple $1 million in revenue, let's say, $300 to $1,000 a month can do a lot of good on advertising. We use that for sponsored posts or boosting posts to get to more eyeballs, as well as like campaigns or even like click-through campaigns to the website. But social media is a powerful advertising platform because they know so much about us. So I would highly recommend it. I do think that you can do a lot of good, like we've talked about today, organically. But in order to truly move the needle, you do need some sort of ad budget for your business. Yes.
What is your thought on blogs?
Yeah, we do blogs for our clients. I think in your industry, like we have some training organizations where blogs are great, right? Because people absorb written content in that industry. Whereas in the lighting industry, maybe not as much. So I'd probably personally, my opinion, lower it on the priority scale to some of the other things we talked about. So I just don't think it's that useful in your industry, but I could be proven wrong.
What are 1 or 2 things you suggest attendees to focus on between now and the end of the year?
Yeah, I would, if the video part resonated with you, but you just don't know where to begin, I would talk to your team about some sort of consistent video thing that you could do, kind of like what you saw me show with the 2 ladies talking. It doesn't have to be every day, but like maybe once a week, maybe even once a month. And it's like a 1 minute, 2 minute thing. And what I would recommend is you start with your most frequently asked questions. What are the 5 questions that you just get? If you had a nickel for every time you heard it, you'd be a millionaire, right? So you hear it all the time. And those are the questions to start with, and answer those questions. And, get your setup. If you want to do it interview style like they did, fine. If you want to just do it on your own. But once you do it once, maybe twice, 3 times, then it just becomes part of your routine. And once you got that video going, you can do so much with it. You can take the content and use it as a blog article or an email piece. You can get it transcribed and use it as social posts. So it's a great way to get meaningful content on a consistent basis. So that's one, Nikki. Another one would be just look for those, go do a little digital audit of your business. Go just, I know everybody's kind of like, ooh, how's my Yelp? How's my website? Just go look, go spend a half hour on Google your business, and then just go one by one and look at all your different profiles that show up and see if there's any holes in your game.
Okay, I think we have a few more questions. This one is, how do you set the right social media budget and how many platforms?
Well, I would start small/slow, and because you can always increase. So if you're pigeonholing me to a number, I would say for a small business, if you're a bigger business, this may not make as much sense, but $200 to $500 a month. I definitely start on Facebook and Instagram because, like I said, they can cross platform with each other. So you can create an ad campaign that can go to both. And I'd see what happens. And I'd be very, very clear on measurable results. Are you looking for engagement? Are you looking for numbers? Are you looking for more likes? Are you looking for clicks to the website? Are you looking for email addresses? And then at the end of the month, did you get them? And if the answer is yes, and the cash register rang a few times extra, then maybe we dial it up a little bit more. So.
Okay, this is kind of a follow-up. Do you prefer Facebook ad campaigns or post boosts, or both?
Both. Let me give you a quick best practice on the boosting. What we tend to do is if it works okay organically, those are the ones we like to boost. So if it falls flat organically, we've tended to find that it's going to fall flat when we boost it as well. But if we get, let's say you were getting, like you saw on those pages, 5 or 6 engagements, and then an award that you won got 27 engagements, maybe that one gets boosted because it did well organically. So Facebook was already pumping that out to more profiles. Add some money behind it, and you'll get better results than the one that probably got 5 or 6 likes. But I do like to do both. I like to boost posts, but I definitely like to do your more traditional ad campaigns to get outside people more interested in your stuff. So the boosted posts are good for people who are already connected to your page and friends of those people. The regular advertising posts are good for everybody else.
Thanks again, Corey, and we hope you all had a great session. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Nikki.